Today is Thursday, December 2nd, and welcome to Slow Home Studio.
My name is John Brown, and this is Matthew North, and today we're going to be answering a viewer question about water saving and toilets that comes to us from a fellow who is building his own house, hopefully a slow home, in Ontario.
Yeah, so he writes, I am currently trying to build a slow home here in Ontario and was wondering if you could do a segment on which plumbing fixture brands are good to choose from a water conservation point of view. I don't know a lot about this, but do know that this is a big environmental issue. P.S. Great job on the website. Keep up the good work. Cameron from Kingston. I had to put that in, so thank you for the compliments. No, it's good. It's really good. Cameron. It's very good.
So you did some investigation and all
I did. It's really interesting because we did a segment a little while back about flooring, and I thought I would follow the same path, and so I looked at LEED, the LEED for Homes guidebook in terms of water use, and I did a bit of research on it, and of course it is interesting because LEED does not actually require any changes to kitchen faucets or laundry facilities in the house, which I did not know. And the reason is because in the kitchen, if you restrict the water flow, you just use more water to clean your dishes. And laundry, as long as the laundry machines are Energy Star, means they're efficient, they actually use the lowest amount of water possible to do the cycles. So they're already, as long as you're not, doing one sock and, putting on large, it's self-regulating. So that's good. So what the biggest issue is, which this is again in the research I found out, is the toilets. And toilets are the biggest water user. And if you're going to do something to restrict water use in your home, you have to really look at the toilets. Now, of course, bath faucets and shower things are also, shower controls are also really important, but they're basically regulated through aerators and flow restrictors. So that's how you look at those. But toilets is a whole other issue. So I thought we should look at LEED specifically. And in the guidebook, it says fixtures, in order to have your prerequisite for LEED, the fixture has to be a maximum of 1.6 gallons per flush. So you're not even a LEED candidate unless all of your toilets have that. Now, the EPA said that toilets count for 30% of your water use in your home. And in 1995, it was legislated that they have to be 1.6 gallons. They can't sell them unless they're 1.6 gallons per flush. They used to be 3.5. So they've already changed that. So now with LEED, to get more points, you have to do a couple things to change the fixtures themselves. And so we'll just have a look at that. So you get extra points if you have low flow fixtures. The average flow for all lavatory faucets must be less than 7.5 liters per minute. Now that's, of course, a flow restricting issue. Flow rate for all shower heads, same thing. For toilets, now, for a dual flush toilet, it has to be less than 1.3 gallons per flush and meet the minimum standards in North America. And then keeping going. Or you get bonus points now if you have very, very high efficiency fixtures and fittings. And so there's a list of what those are. The average flow rate for all lavatory faucets must be 5.6. So this is even restricted more. This is down to the trickle. Same thing with shower heads. And then the toilets, the dual flush must be less than 1.1. So this is really taking everything down. Now, manufacturers have come up with a whole bunch of ways that they can do this, but you do have to look at the product very carefully, and you have to know what to look for. So WaterSense is a program by the EPA, and what it's doing is it is giving a label, a WaterSense label, to toilets that have reduced their water usage by an additional 20%.
Below the 1.6.
Below the 1.6. So then that would give you those points that you need for LEED, those extra points. So you're taking it down another notch. So we went and did some research and we tried to find out how that works. Well, this is the most obvious one. This is the dual flush.
It's the one that we use most often.
Yeah, I mean everybody knows about this. There's the big button flushes the toilet with 1.6 gallons, and the little one flushes it with 0.9 gallons. So that automatically reduces your water consumption in the toilet.
As long as you actually use the little one.
Yes, and that's the issue, is there's a lifestyle thing with this. It's kind of Scout's honor, right? Like a little bit, because the fixture's not actually, because there is the option of flushing more. The other thing, too, that I've heard is that with families and kids will often push the little one like twice, which brings it higher than the 1.6 for the big one. So this is a really good idea, but you have to be you have to be on board with the lifestyle of working with this.
And I have to say, I have these in my house, and it did take a while to get used to using the small flush, and it's habit that you just sort of get used to pushing one thing and having to make a decision. It also takes a little, you have to build up confidence that it's all right to just push the little one, that a little bit of water actually gets the job done as well. So you do have to make sure, and this is something where it's not just what might get specified by a designer, an architect, or a contractor that goes in. It actually has to then be implemented by the homeowner, by the person that's actually using it, in a slight change of behavior.
Yeah, and the thing about the dual flush is they're readily available, and they are cost effective, and they're available across all brands. So this is by Duravit, but there's also Caroma, there's also Toto, there's all the big brands have those. The next level of water conservation is one where you don't have the option of a dual flush, but it does flush at 0.9 gallons. And this one is called the Cyclone, and this is by Toto, and what this does is this actually has changed the design of the toilet itself to use less water, but to get away from this idea that you're not having an issue with cleaning the bowl. And that's the big problem, is because in typical toilet design with the 0.9 flush, the small flush, it uses the same mechanism, so it can't handle emptying the bowl, pardon my language, So in this situation, the water is actually like a cyclone. It goes around the bowl in a different way, so it's using a different technology. But there is no option for a higher flush in this one. So this is also by Toto, and this is where they have done some research and they've expanded the trap. And they've actually made it wider so that less water, because it relies on less pressure to go through. The other thing that Toto has done, and also Kohler as well, is you can also get a vacuum pump toilet that needs a bit of electricity. So there is a plug next to it, you plug it into the wall, and it actually sucks the water out using a power assist. So it uses less water, but it does rely on a bit of electricity. And then this one I actually think is actually kind of brilliant. I
really like this idea.
This is a new idea. This is a totally different way of dealing with water and the whole idea of the bathroom. And what actually happens is you use the toilet and then you don't flush it until you wash your hands. And the water from the hand washing, the gray water, is actually what flushes the toilet. So there is no wasted water because there's no other lavatory in the bathroom.
Yeah, I think this is a great idea. I think that it's got a couple of sort of functional, technical things that it's got to work out. I'm not sure how convenient it would be to have to reach over the bowl in order to wash your hands.
We were trying to figure that out.
Do you have to kneel on the bowl? Do you stand beside it? It's kind of in a kind of disembodied showroom space right now. I also think that there are other things that one does in the washroom beyond just washing one's hands. And so, does that mean that there has to be another sink there for shaving and doing all?
But as an idea, I know you're not arguing against it, but I'm just thinking that as an idea, moving in towards a new direction, I think this is onto something, because I think there would be a way of designing it and maybe moving the sink remotely and having.
Well, I think that might be the thing, right? Is how do you just get the water from the sink to drain into the toilet?
Yeah.
Now, of course, we also know that the whole gray water use issue has got some way to go in terms of municipal health and sanitation bylaws and updating everything across the country. So sometimes these things aren't possible, but I would imagine it is when it's all contained within one unit like this.
Yeah, and I think that is a way of using gray water with sort of bypassing all of those sort of rules. So this is our final example.
It's a real beauty.
Well, I know, but this is what got me thinking about this, because I was looking at the most recent edition of Dwell magazine, and they have a house in there that's off the grid, and they had a composting toilet. And this is a composting toilet. And I actually read the whole thing about it, and I thought it was really interesting how it works. And the idea is that the wet waste, which is 80% of toilet waste, is just evaporated through the stack. And then the solid waste is actually composted, sort of like a kitty litter, actually. And there's a tray at the bottom, and there's a mixture that you put in. And you have to empty the tray, but it's all done very, very neatly and stuff. And the thing is that this is, you see this in off-the-grid cabins and all of that sort of stuff. But this is a no-water toilet. So if we're talking about extreme ends of possibilities, And the one thing about this one is they advertise, it's even on the website, that you don't have to have a step up. Because the one in Dwell magazine that I was looking at, you literally had to go up on a ladder to get up to the top of it because the composting part of it was so big. But I mean, it is interesting that these, and I think over time, again, like the sink on top of the toilet, these are going to become better and better designed and more ergonomically friendly, and they are something that, you know, I think that we should consider looking into.
So just to answer the question, what you need to do at the very minimum is get a dual flush toilet and make sure that it's less than 1.6. If you can go to something more exotic like the Cyclone or perhaps the vacuum, you can get that water usage down a lot more. And then for those of you that are thinking about renovating and making slow homes 5 or 6 years down the road, you'll be able to find hopefully a whole bunch of new products that use gray water and sometimes no water at all in terms of the toilet use. I hope you found that helpful, and we will see you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.